Welcome to From the Trenches, success shortcuts revealed by real-world innovators crushing it right now. I'm your host, Scott Hartley, and we're back with another episode packed with actionable strategies from today's most successful entrepreneurs. If you're tired of generic business advice and ready for real cutting-edge tactics that are working right now, you're in the right place. Now, if you've ever felt like marketing has gotten too complicated, too noisy, or just plain overwhelming, you're not alone. So many small business owners are spinning their wheels chasing trends while neglecting the timeless strategies that actually move the needle. And that's why today's guest is someone that you need to hear from. He's a living bridge between the bedrock fundamentals of direct response and the future of marketing education. He's tested a lot of wild ideas like offers on yogurt lids. He's stewarded the greatest copywriting texts of all time and somehow turned a near fatal stroke into a marketing lesson. He's built two legendary careers and he's just getting started. So this conversation is going to go way beyond over delivery. And so let me introduce you to this person that I'm so delighted to have on here, Brian Kurtz. So as I mentioned, he's had two careers. His first one spanned 34 years as a force behind Boardroom Inc., an iconic publisher and direct marketer. His second career, which he's in 9 years into as the founder of Titans Marketing, is a direct response direct marketing, educational and coaching company where he has also continued working with the best of the best. Titans Marketing is known for exclusive mastermind groups, an array of classic books and swipe files that Brian has republished and created, and he's the author of two books himself. During both careers, he's been a serial direct marketer with a foundation in the eternal truths and fundamentals of direct response, while being committed to over-delivering over almost 4 decades. Brian, I'm so excited to have you on the podcast today.
I'm excited to be here, Scott. You're one of my favorite members of the Titans Accelerator Mastermind that you're in with me. And when you asked me, it was like you couldn't even get the sentence out before I said yes. I'll do anything for any of my accelerators, and especially you because you're just, the thing I love about you is that you are a contributor. When we had a session in Titans Accelerator about email deliverability,
Yep.
and it wasn't you speaking, and you ended up being a co-speaker because you wanted to contribute your knowledge. So I had to, it's not a quid pro quo, but I had to, deliver something back to you just for that. And
Yeah.
you always contribute, and you're open, and you're, inquisitive and curious, which makes you a great marketer yourself. And I'm here to do whatever I can for your clients, your audience, that can help them, navigate marketing today, which is, I say that advertising opportunities today are infinite. When I
Yeah.
started back in the horse and buggy days of marketing, marketing opportunities were finite.
Yeah.
And it was direct mail, print, TV, radio, some inserts, all of that. And now everything's on steroids. And it can be overwhelming, as you said in the beginning of your intro. And hopefully we can simplify some of that for some of your audience today and get them to hone down into what media they should be looking at, how
Mhm.
they should be doing their marketing, what they should prioritize. And whatever you want to ask me, I'm all yours.
Yeah, there's a lot of, shiny objects out there. And I think all of us kind of get the shiny object syndrome. Whereas, when you got your start, with Boardroom, like you said, it was a finite number of opportunities and ways that you could do marketing. And so kind of the first question that I've come up with, and you just led into this perfectly. You once said that paying postage has made you a better marketer. Now today, like a lot of people are probably questioning, like, what the heck is postage? Because it's like all social media and everything's online. But talk about that a little bit. Like, what do you mean by paying postage has made you a better marketer, and how does that translate into marketing today?
Yeah, great question. And it was chapter 3 of my book, Over Deliver. So it's a topic near and dear to my heart. One, because I have to justify my existence and my career because I started in direct mail.
Yeah,
And in 1981, when I started at Boardroom, it was the day Reagan was shot, if people can remember that.
yeah,
And I I direct mail was my thing. That was the killer medium in the 80s. And so when I wrote my book, I wanted to, I did it in sequence. So I talked about what is over delivery, and I had an introduction, what is over delivery. I did chapter two is the importance of original source, which
Hmm.
is an important chapter too. Not for nostalgia's sake, but you go back and you look at where things were invented, where babies come from, right?
Yeah.
Because if you get to that, then you can make sense of what's going on today. Because the principles of human behavior and how people behave in the marketplace, whether it's offline or online, it's the same. Human
Yep.
beings haven't changed. The
Right.
media has changed, everything else has changed. So chapter three, how paying postage made me a better marketer, is based on the fact that, when we didn't have the internet, we didn't have email, we didn't have, I'm not going to say they're easier media. They're certainly cheaper media for
Hmm.
sure than
Right.
direct mail. Direct mail is expensive. You got to pay for postage, you got to pay for printing, you got to pay for merge purge, which is bringing all your lists together. Everything was on paper. Everything was, so it was a very expensive proposition. So how that made me a better marketer, I could sum it up in one word: discipline.
Mm.
And discipline is something that it's prevalent today in the online world. I'm not one of these guys that say, "Oh, in my day we had more discipline and you whippersnappers today, you don't know shit and you don't know what you're doing." I'm not like that's not my game.
Right.
I look for the best marketers online and the reason I look for the best ones and I bring them to Titans Accelerator to speak is
Hmm.
because they have discipline. They're
Yeah.
using the premises that we used in direct mail, they're applying them to online. And I guess a way to sum it up would be that every time I sent a mailing out, whether it was for 100,000 pieces of direct mail, a million, and we actually had a 9 million piece direct mail campaign once, one mailing of 9 million pieces.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing. Um, and that's a lot of paper and a lot of postage. In
Yeah.
fact, I used to lobby for postage reform on Capitol Hill, and I was like with National Geographic and other big mailers because we spent $22 million a year on postage. That's how paying postage made me a better marketer because you're paying that much every
Yeah.
time you hit the send button, and the send button in direct mail is actually releasing the mail from the letter shop to go out to households all over the country. You got to
Hmm.
be sure that everything is so dialed in. You got to have
Yeah.
such discipline. And you're still looking at 2 to 3% response rates anyway. Now, online and email, you get a 2 or 3% response rate. You're doing you're doing cartwheels all day long. But you don't need it because you don't have the costs. But
Right.
that doesn't mean you shouldn't have the same care and concern for your customers. And so we had a database at Boardroom that we mailed to that was well, it was a 9 million name database of names and addresses. Remember names, lists are people too,
Hmm.
and big lists, but it was people. We narrowed it down to like 2 million 24-month buyers and subscribers. And then within that 2 million, we'd mail portions of it for different offers. And the list segmentation had to be perfect. It had to be so dialed in because you can't look, you're going to waste mail anyway, just like you'll have wasted circulation online. And you
Hmm.
can afford to have a little more online because it's cheap. But that doesn't mean you should be sloppy. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean you shouldn't have the same discipline. So just the mindset, that's the biggest thing. The mindset of when you're going out in an online campaign to have the same discipline that we had in direct mail because of costs. It's like I remember there was an urban legend going around as email got popular, really popular. I don't know what years that was. You probably know the history, but it was, it had to be in the 2000s, of course,
Hmm.
but it was, and there was an urban legend going around that said the postal service is going to start charging for email. I don't know if you remember that. It
I
was going
do.
to
Yeah.
charge for every email. And I got to tell you, in a weird sort of way, and we were doing a lot of email marketing at Boardroom by then.
Hmm.
And one of the things that I thought about, I said, wow, that would be pretty cool. Because that's going to weed out all the imposters. It's going to weed out all the amateurs because now they got to pay for it and it's not free.
Yeah.
And now it was an urban legend. It didn't happen, of course. Of course, the email service providers charge, a
Hmm.
monthly fee to broadcast your emails and all that. You have to work with people like you to help with deliverability. And so there's a lot of there are costs involved. I'm not saying it's completely free, but
Right.
compared to direct mail, it's free.
Exactly. It's a so night and day difference on that investment.
Right. So I think that's where, and that's the crux of why paying postage made me a better marketer. Also, in terms of testing creative. So when you're testing creative approaches, again, in direct mail, you got to look for breakthroughs, like big breakthroughs, because if you're testing in direct mail, I don't have to go into the details, but understand that you have zip code strings. You're mailing to households.
Hmm.
So physical mail to households. So you have zip strings that you have to set up, and they don't get the same postal discounts that you get when you mail a bigger number. So if you're mailing like 25,000 name segments of a test package of a new creative approach, a new price that you want to test, you got to be sure that it was worth testing, that it's either going to either be a resounding winner or it won't win, but at
Hmm.
least you'll know if you can roll out to that versus the control, which is the current winner that you have.
Yeah.
And so, and the same is, I think that getting sloppy with creative can really get you in trouble online because you think that, oh, I only have to send out, a few hundred emails to find out which creative is better. And the concept there is statistical significance. You've
Yeah.
got to have enough orders on both sides of an A/B split of two different creative approaches to get something that you can hang your hat on, so to speak, and
Yeah.
be able to roll out to it. So, I mean, it sounds simple, and I'm sure some of your listeners are saying, I know that already, Brian, and that's fine. But you asked the question about how paying postage made me a better marketer. It's because of, because we were paying such high costs, the cost of making mistakes was higher. Now, a lot of people in and you've heard this, I'm sure, email marketers that come to you and say, you know what, I sent this email out to my list. I got no response. I was asking for a response. I got no response, but it's no big deal. And I will say that it is a big deal
Yeah.
because you don't know what damage you do to your brand, to how you're going out. Now, in direct mail, it was, when you're mailing a million pieces of mail for a $39 newsletter or a $39 book, it's not as damaging except the cost of the mail.
Hmm.
In email, because it's so cheap, there is the damage there is your reputation, your
Yeah.
if you do something that's not congruent with who you are, or what about an affiliate deal? You have an
Yeah.
email list, you take on an affiliate who's not, and I tell a story I told it in a blog. I won't tell it here. But if you have an affiliate offer that's not congruent with the audience that you're going after, you're going to get a lot of unsubscribes, you're going to have a lot of complaints, and you're going to get spam complaints also, and you're going to end up, you know, possibly being shut down by your email service provider. And the
Yeah.
thing is, in direct mail, it so happened that direct mail was kinder and gentler because the U.S. Postal Service, while you couldn't do mail fraud, they would
Hmm.
arrest you for that. You could get away with a lot in direct mail. But if you're on Facebook, you're on an email service provider that monitors spam closely, you're at their mercy. It's their platform. Now, email is a better platform than Facebook or Instagram or Google
Hmm.
because they're being controlled on high, whereas you're choosing your email service provider and they will just let you know. They'll usually give you a warning if you're doing stuff that they don't like you to do. They won't shut you down immediately, but they will shut you down. But you can get shut down immediately. Well, you've heard the horror stories. People on Facebook, they get
Yeah.
shut down and their entire businesses on Facebook, and then they're out of business.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we
so
just had one of the Titans, in our group. He posted he's got, either a client or a friend that had reached out to him and said, "Hey, my Facebook ad account got shut down. What can I do here?" So it happens, every day. And
right.
with that, that whole postage thing, I love the fact that you're mentioning that discipline because I really feel like because marketing, especially online marketing, whether it's email, Facebook ads, whatever that it is, it's allowed us to get lax. And whenever we get lax, we don't care about the quality. We don't care because there's not as much of investment required on it. And then we just end up burning, our relationship with our list. We burn, our ability to reach the people that we really want to reach. And I think that's the big problem with cold email. I mean, so many
Yes.
people are dead set on doing cold email right now, you're ticking people off because you're showing up unwanted in their inbox, even though you may not get spam complaints and get shut down.
You're
You're
not going to
just
get any orders out of it
Yeah,
either.
you're
Yeah.
just like really interrupting people. Whereas if there was a true cost for doing cold email like there was with direct mail, we would see a lot less of it.
Yeah, and I think the difference would be the differentiator in direct mail was the segmentation of the list. So it's the
Yeah.
same thing in email. If you want to if you want to do cold email to any lists out there or an affiliate list, you've got to warm them up. I mean, it's funny. I went on a live cast once, and this woman marketer, she interviewed 35 marketers, and each one came on to this. It was a live cast, so it was like we did it all live. Each person came on one after another.
Mm-hmm.
And she asked each one of them one question, gave them no more than 10 minutes. And it was, how do you use social media in your business? And I didn't even think about it because I wanted to go on and just say what came to mind when I went on the live cast. And the thing that came to mind, then I wrote a blog post about it, was, I use social media to get to get people to opt in to my email list, and then I romance them. That was my quote.
Mm-hmm.
And I still love that quote because that's what you sh that's the thing that is missing because you still have to look, you still have to get new customers from new sources. So the
Sure.
idea, but and going out to cold lists, not list people that don't know you,
Mm-hmm.
is sexy, right? You get an order from somebody who never knew you before. My sales copy was the best ever. But I'm patient, man. I will take my time. I will develop a relationship with somebody. I mean, I think I always call it patient marketing, and it's got a
Mm-hmm.
double entendre. So, you're the patient because you have to not be impulsive to,
Right.
right? But you're being patient by taking your time, develop a relationship. I have a quote in my book that says, everything in business and in life is not a revenue event, but
Mm-hmm.
everything is a relationship event. And
Yeah.
so, and in online, again, going back to paying postage and direct mail, you couldn't do a lot of relationship marketing in direct mail because it was expensive. One of the
Mm-hmm.
beauties of cheaper media is that you can go out. That's why the launch, Jeff Walker's PLF got
Mm-hmm.
so popular so quickly, which is basically you go out with content to people that you may or may not know, but
Mm-hmm.
you just give away your best stuff up front. You
Yeah.
basically you lead with value because you can do that because you're not paying postage and printing. I
Mm-hmm.
tried to lead with value in our direct mail packages. It was harder, but what we did was we developed these packages in direct mail. We called them bookalogs and magalogs, and they were long form copies. So the magalogs were like 24 to 32 pages long. The
Mm-hmm.
bookalogs were 64 pages. These are promotions in the mail, like
Yeah.
a 64 page like little booklet that was a promotion.
Yeah.
And there you were able to give away some of the steak. It wasn't all sizzle. You know how
Mm-hmm.
they say, in direct mail in the early days, it was like, don't give away the steak, just give away the sizzle and then make them buy the steak. You know, maybe it was a precursor, like the Magalogs and Bookalogs were the precursors of like a product launch formula in
Mm-hmm.
the internet age. Because basically in product launch formula, you do 3 videos, you give away your best content, you lead with value because you have the confidence that people will love you, they'll start to know, like, and trust you. And
Mm-hmm.
then when you want to sell them something, you'll have more best stuff to give them.
Right.
And and so the thing about direct mail, you couldn't really do that, but we did it as much as we could with bookalogs and magalogs, where we give away some of the stuff. We'd have like, the 5 things to know when you're buying a used car,
Mm-hmm.
and we give 3 of them away, and we give the actual thing that we were going to have in the article in the book, and then we
Yeah.
say for numbers 4 and 5, see page 67 of the book. So, and that was a technique. It was called bullet writing, and
Mm-hmm.
it's popular today online as well. But that
Yeah.
was a precursor of online marketing where you want to give away. They said moving the free line was something that Eben Pagan made popular,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's very important as your free line moves, so does your delivery of value first. And
Mm-hmm.
so I love what you said about, people who want to go for cold mail and people who have never met them before and they want to just sell to them directly. that's a tough business to do. And I think if you can do it through, you know, really warming them up, romancing them, it's
Hmm.
always better because you'll get a longer term customer too. Because if you
Yeah.
get them on a cold mail list, like a list of people who didn't know you, and
Hmm.
you get lucky and someone buys something from you, they're not going to be as wedded to you. They're not going to renew, probably. They're not going to buy more from you because it was an impulsive buy as opposed to a purchase that was developed through the relationship. I mean, it's
Hmm.
obvious stuff, right? But
Yeah.
and Gene Schwartz in Breakthrough Advertising, which is one of the greatest books ever written on copywriting, marketing, and human behavior. I happen to have the exclusive rights to it. It was written in 1966. Not one word has been changed, and it's 100% relevant today. And
Yeah.
it's all about this. It's all about the different segments of people and how to talk to each one to get develop the relationship based on whether they're aware of the problem they have, whether they're aware of the solution they need. And different audiences demand different messaging. In direct mail, it was so much tougher. Again, different zip code strings. You had to
Yeah.
separate them out and you pay more postage even. Email, I mean, segmenting your email list by just by buyers and prospects alone, I
Hmm.
mean, that's a no-brainer, but you can do a lot more than that. If you have a product that's geared more to women than men, then you segment out the women. If you have people who bought, you know, three products from you versus someone who's bought one product from you, that's a different messaging. The three
Hmm.
product buyer deserves a much more VIP kind of messaging. Tougher to do in direct mail. We did it though.
Hmm.
We had multi-buyers in direct mail, and we went after the multi-buyers a little differently, but and we also went after our ex-buyers differently, which is
Yeah.
interesting. You know, your ex-buyers, people who were former customers, former subscribers who left you, that's your best list.
Yeah.
Your best list are your ex-buyers. Because I mean, if they left you because your product sucks and they hate you, it's not a great list.
Right.
But you have to assume most people leave you for two reasons, time and money.
Hmm.
So you know, or the value proposition. But they maybe didn't hate you and they liked the product. And if you remind them of it, we had a package once, we took the control package that went out to outside lists and we just put to the people who were the ex-buyers, we just put on the outer envelope, we want you back. That lifted response by 35%. Just a little
Wow.
thing like that, just to give
Yeah.
you an idea, the simple idea, but
Yeah.
just to give you an idea of the ways that you need to message to the list and you need to, you know, segment. And online, it's so much easier than it was offline. And we
I
did
can
it offline.
imagine.
We did it in direct mail. So that's how paying postage made me a better marketer.
Yeah. Well, and I think, and you touched upon a lot, there. And if nothing else, like the importance of going back, like you mentioned, to, crediting the source, going back to where did these ideas originate from? Because there's nothing new under the sun. And, what we're seeing in online marketing, the majority of that is coming from what's been done offline and how do we translate that into the online world so that we get similar types of results. Now, the thing that you
I mean,
mentioned there
even
too,
AI. I mean, you know,
yeah.
we have this breakthrough advertising boot camp where we teach the concepts of breakthrough advertising,
Hmm.
and we developed like a whole area of what if, you know, Gene Schwartz, the author of the book in 1966, used AI
Yeah.
in the copy to go after problem aware people, for example. And
Hmm.
we actually explore that through ChatGPT. So, I mean, the concept was written in 1966.
Right.
You can adapt it to AI and ChatGPT today. I mean, look, you have to be careful, especially when you're my age. I mean, hopefully people can't see me, but if those who can will see that I have a lot of gray hair. Um, I'm 67 years old. I'm still like, you know, above ground, so I'm going to keep talking and keep teaching and all of that and keep learning. And the thing that I learn every day is that I'm not looking backwards. I said this briefly before. I'm not looking backwards for nostalgia purposes. I'm looking backwards for what are the roots, as you suggested.
Hmm.
What are the gems? What are the eternal truths of direct response marketing, and how do we put them on steroids today using all of the technology, all of the ingenuity? And you know, I have to say that of the people I grew up with, we're in this conversation of paying postage, so that was where I grew up. The
Hmm.
people I grew up with in the direct mail industry, in the 80s and 90s, when the internet started coming alive and email became, the killer app that it still is today, um, a lot of those people that I grew up with gave up. They saw
Mm.
the internet as intimidating. I saw it as intimidating because I was doing direct mail for my first
Hmm.
10, 12 years. So I think they saw it as intimidating. They saw it as, I don't want to do this. I'm just going to stay in my cubbyhole in direct mail. And most of those people ended up retiring early and not doing it. Now, I went in whole hog on it.
Hmm.
Not to say that I knew what I was doing, but I went and found the experts, as you said before. That's what I do with Titans Accelerator. I
Yep.
don't know everything about everything. No one does. But when I want to find out about how to sell products on Amazon, I'm going to go to an Amazon expert. When I
Hmm.
want to find someone who's going to do email deliverability, I'm going to go to, Scott Hartley. When I want someone who's going to talk to my group about Google AdWords at the highest level, or Facebook or Instagram, I want that expert.
Yeah.
And by doing that, it's selfish on my part because I get to learn. At the same time, my mastermind gets to learn, and then the knowledge is cumulative, right?
Yeah.
And then I can still go. I can lean on my direct mail days as well, and that's when like it's 1 + 1 = 3, and I
Yeah.
really get excited. But again, I want people to listen carefully what I'm saying. I'm not saying that people should use direct mail as their number one medium today. That's not what how paying postage made me a better marketer. It's not about even making direct mail the lion's share of your business, but having an offline component to an online business is always going to differentiate you because not many people are doing it. People
Yeah.
are online all the time. In fact, most people, when they call themselves an internet marketer, they're doing themselves a disservice. I
Yeah.
mean, why would you define yourself by a channel? I know people call themselves Facebook marketers. Why would you want to define yourself by a channel? Why don't you
Can you
say,
imagine
I'm
if
a
you
direct
if you
response?
build yourself as a MySpace marketer right now? Like
Exactly.
you'd be out of a job,
Out of,
right?
out of a job, right? So I mean, I sort of like why I'm a direct response marketer who primarily uses Facebook, but I'm always open to other channels. That's
Yeah.
multi-channel, omni-channel, whatever you want to call it. There's another chapter in my book on multi-channel marketing as well. And one of the big ones, Dan Kennedy talks about this all the time. Create offline marketing in an online world, and not only will you be set apart as it'll differentiate you, but it will meet certain customers where they want to be met.
Hmm.
Even if they're doesn't have to be older audiences for sure might want to be met in direct mail or in print or something like that. But there are younger marketers who go to mailboxes and
Yep.
they're emptier and they're so there's a lot to paying postage maybe than a marketer, and we went pretty deep there. So
Yeah, no, that was really good stuff. Want to kind of talk about marketing as well, but you've talked about that marketing isn't just what you send out, whether that's direct mail, email, Facebook ads, whatever. Um, you talk about that marketing is also customer service and fulfillment. Those are marketing activities as well. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think a lot of people don't see those things as marketing activities.
yeah, it's a great question. I devoted a whole chapter to it in my book. And they are marketing functions because, you know, it's the direct response marketing rule of thumb is that it's easier to keep a customer than to get a new one. Just what
Yep.
we talked about before. If you're going to people who bought from you before, who know, like, and trust you, they'll be easier to sell more products to than someone who doesn't know, like, and trust you, never met you, and you have to go cold.
Hmm.
You need to do both, but you always want to start within and then go outside. You don't want to start, you have to, at some point, you have to start outside because you have no customers. But
Right.
but once you start building a customer base or even a prospect base and you're romancing people and you haven't even sold them yet, that's better than going out cold. Then once they buy from you, then the rubber hits the road, right? They're
Hmm.
gonna they're gonna like, and I do a lot of things in that chapter and over deliver about customer service, like things like your telephone customer service reps are your front line to the marketplace. Like
Hmm.
people calling in with complaints, with customer service questions, you can lose a customer in an instant. I mean, everybody's had horrible experiences when they complain about a product that they bought or want to return it.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell a story in Over Deliver of when I used to stay at the office late at night. So and it was in the 1980s. So, we didn't have automated attendance. And so the phone rang at 8 o'clock. It would ring until it stopped ringing. So I'd be the only one in the office. And when the phone rang at 8 o'clock at night, I knew it was a customer complaint. And I knew, or a customer question
Mm-hmm.
from, and we had 9 million buyers of various sorts. So the phones could ring often at
Yeah.
8 o'clock at night. And it was sort of like, I don't know if it was a sociological thing why I did it, but I was there. I like to work late at night. Not every night, but most nights. And I would pick up the phone and I would play a game, especially if they were an unhappy customer. And the game was, how can I make them a happy customer? Look, it's one customer and it didn't make a difference to the bottom line of the company. But by playing that game, that's where I developed my sense of customer service as a marketing function, because I could turn around almost anybody, no matter how angry they are. Because I knew our products were good,
Mm-hmm.
the value we delivered was good. It was usually something stupid like the the bullet point on page 67 of your sales letter, on page 4 of the sales letter, said the answer was on page 67 of the book and it's not there. So I would actually pick the book off the shelf and we'd find where it is, and like just that little thing, they were like satisfied. And it was like, but okay, so you say, Brian, you're getting paid. I wasn't getting paid big bucks then, but I was well paid. Like, that's a waste of time, right? On the one hand, it wasn't. And so
Yeah.
then when I wrote Over Deliver, I went a step further. I talked about other ways as a CEO of a larger company where, like, I think every CEO of any company of any size should at some point listen to customer service calls. Like, just
Mm-hmm.
listen to, you'll get both sides. You'll see what your customers are complaining about, what they like, what they don't like, what's going on. And also you'll see the people on the front lines of your business, how they're handling it. Now
Mm-hmm.
you have people, that stuff has to be monitored by people other than the CEO.
Right.
But the CEO just getting involved a little bit could add so much, because the CEO is usually the visionary of the company, and you'll
Mm-hmm.
get new ideas, you get new product ideas, you'll get new. That's why it's a marketing function. In addition, I talk about secret shoppers in that chapter. And a
Mm-hmm.
secret shopper, for people who might not know, is when you find somebody that you pay to like go into your business and buy everything, break everything, complain about everything, not and they're not known by your staff and your customer service people. So
Mm-hmm.
I basically like would give a budget to somebody who understood direct response marketing. So
Mm-hmm.
someone that I knew could ask the right questions, complain correctly. You don't have to be nasty, but you want to be a troublemaker customer and see how it gets handled.
Mm-hmm.
And um, it came to the point where it was, um, I asked the secret shoppers, the customer service rep said something to them, and my question to the secret shopper was, how did that make you feel?
Yeah.
And then you get a really, you get a visceral response. And you could feel deprived, you could feel forgotten, you could feel, insulted, whatever it is. And you need to get that into the business so that then everybody's on the same team. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I also in my book, I kind of made the analogy to an umpire in baseball. I've umpired baseball my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I've done, high school varsity, and I've done little league at a high level. Um, and the best thing you get after a game that you umpire is nice game ump.
Right.
Nobody comes to the game to see the umpire. Nobody comes to your business to see the customer service rep. So it's
Mm-hmm.
very similar. Like, and I love, and people said, somebody said, a friend of mine said, why the F would you ever want to be, anybody want to be an umpire? And I said, it gives me focus for one thing. I go
Yeah.
out of my office, I have to call 250 pitches, and if I miss one, I get yelled at. I
Yep.
like that pressure. But more importantly, it's about sort of like a and you put your ego on the back burner. Like you're not the star of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to just create order out of chaos, and that's the best you get.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I also talk about that the customer service reps, this is for the CEOs and the owners of companies that are listening, you got to pay these people. Paying customer service reps minimum wage is just not the way to go. If you pay them on incentive, and then, if you want, look, you can turn your customer service into a sales function where they could try to save people and then get a percentage of the
Mm-hmm.
orders that they save. That's a different kind of business, but that's also shows you that customer service is a marketing function. Because if you're like with a long distance carrier, like you go to
Yeah.
Verizon and complain, you're going to get sold before, they're not going to let you off the hook so fast.
Yep.
But if you don't do that, just deliver value. The customer's always right. What can I do to make this right for you? And then you see how they react. And both on both sides, both the customer but hopefully I prove my point that it is a marketing function and not just an anyhow, thing. The other thing also is onboarding. When a new
Mm.
customer comes on, and I wrote a blog post, it was a quote from a marketer I know who's a wonderful, just a warm coach for businesses. And she had the quote that says, onboarding is not housekeeping. Onboarding is not housekeeping. And
Mm.
what she meant by that is that people look at onboarding, people come onto your list, they come onto your business, they join your membership, they buy a product from you, and they just look at it as housekeeping. Like, I got to get them up, I'll get them this stuff that I promised them, and then I'm done. And
Mm-hmm.
I always say onboarding is forever. Like that's why, the key to your business is renewable businesses, ongoing businesses, continuity businesses, because the first order is just the beginning. And
Mm-hmm.
otherwise you'll be a one-hit wonder or, a single product marketer. And a product's not a business. A
Yep.
promotion is not a business. Building and so the subtitle of Over Deliver is build a business for a lifetime, playing the long game in direct response marketing. The long game includes customer service and fulfillment as a marketing function.
Mm-hmm.
Paying postage made me a better marketer. The importance of original source, the importance of RFM, recency, frequency, monetary. We're not going to get there today, but the idea of looking at your customers as people and how they behave in the marketplace and
Mm-hmm.
not just names on paper. Um, these are all like that. That's what direct response marketing is all about.
Yeah, and everything that we've talked about today, and there's so much more that we can get to. These are the foundational truths, and they're, in my opinion, they're the things that set true, real businesses apart from kind of the fly by nights. The people who are out there just for the quick cash
Long
grab
game,
and
right? The
and,
long
and
game.
everything. It's like, no, I want, and even in my teaching when it comes to email, it's like email, yes, it's the best form of generating revenue for a business, maybe better than definitely better than online, but 36 to $42 for every dollar that you invest in email marketing. But you can't just look at it as an ATM machine. It's how can I build the relationships? And again, it goes back to your speaking, of the long term. So
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I love
I, ha-
all
I
of
have I have a
that.
concept that I learned from Jay Abraham, who's a great marketing guru, and he wrote the forward to Over Deliver. And but I have a quote in my. He has the concept of relationship capital, and you
Hmm.
look at it as a bank account, and it's the most important bank account that you have.
Yeah.
And if you invest properly, and I'm not going to take the monetary thing too far, but if you invest properly, it 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 accumulates interest like it's compound interest.
Hmm.
So it's like this relationship compounds on that one, then you bring people together. That's the account, and that's why the interest rate is so high when it compounds. Nothing is a one-shot deal. Nothing. You can't be a one-trick pony. You can't be a one product company. It's just not. If you want to have a business, you need multiple products, multiple media, and you need a relationship capital account so that you can get more done with more brains than your own. And admitting that you don't know anything is the first step in running a business. I mean,
Hmm.
it sounds stupid to say that, but some people, they go into a business, they think it's their specialty, and then they know it all. And man, I will go to my grave not knowing not knowing so much, but I just want to learn so much while I'm still above ground.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of a perfect segue into, wanting to learn. You and I are so much alike, in that capacity. I've told so many
Yes.
people is like, I could be a lifelong student and like that's the only thing that I do. I would just, take courses and attend classes
We
and
got to
seminars,
pay the
but.
rent, but yeah, right, right. But I'd be the same as you, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
We are very similar that way. Yes.
Yeah, but part of that too, you talked about that relationship capital and bringing people together. And so, as we kind of wrap up here, that kind of leads us to, the Titans Accelerator. So I'm going on my second year of being a member in the Titans Accelerator,
And
and
a high contributing member.
I tell you what, it is like the best mastermind group that I have ever been a part of.
That's
Um,
saying a lot because I know you've been in a bunch.
Yeah, I've been in several, and I make it a point to attend every weekly, so it's twice a month now. I attend,
Two or three
two or
times a month
three.
live calls.
I
Yeah.
attend. I make it a point, like it's blocked out on my calendar. When you get the calendar, out for the next quarter, like boom, it's automatically on my calendar because I'm attending. It's a priority for me to attend those meetings, and then of course now, just late last year you introduced the accountability pods. And so those are those smaller groups, and we've got four, I think, four or five in ours that, that's a commitment every single Monday morning.
Every week.
And
Yep.
we meet and just kind of discuss ideas and hold each other accountable. But talk a little bit about, that the Titans Accelerators group and why that's something that you created and why you wanted to put that together and how people can learn more about it.
Yeah, so when I left Boardroom, I did a descension model. And by what I mean by that is I didn't start with a low ticket, I started with a high ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And then I worked my way down. And the reason I was able to do that is I had 34 years experience. I had developed a good relationship capital account. And so I did a $25,000 mastermind that was called Titans Mastermind. Um, and I capped it at 30 companies. And
Mm-hmm.
some people had more than one person in the mastermind. It's like 45 members. Do the math. 45 members at $25,000. That's a business, right?
Yeah.
It's a $1 million business, close to it. And with good margins too. And I
Mm-hmm.
loved it. It was like we had 3 live event meetings a year for 2.5 days, and we just had speakers and hot seat. It was great. Um, but I realized that instead of going to 30 companies that were somewhat quite large, and
Mm-hmm.
then they would go out to then their audiences and spread the word of the stuff that they were learning in Titans Mastermind, I wanted to be like closer to the people, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was just these 30 companies. So I said, you know what? And I came up with the idea, and it was right before the pandemic. It was December of 2019. I said, I want to do a larger but inexpensive virtual mastermind on Zoom
Mm-hmm.
pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
So it's like some people said, Brian, did you know the pandemic was coming? I did, but I sometimes I want to take credit for knowing it was coming, but I can't.
You don't want
But
to take the blame for it though.
I don't want to take the blame for it, that's for sure. So I launched it in December of 2019. Immediately got 150 members. Um, it right now it's priced. It's a ridiculous price. It's like $2,000 a year or $200 a month. The initial offer for the first year was 6 years ago. It was 150 a month or $1,500. I mean, it was an investment in that I thought I could get. That's why I wanted to get a lot of people in so that
Hmm.
I could touch more people. And then those people could then, so it was like instead of having 30 companies, now I have 250. That's where
Yeah.
it is now, 250 with all of their tentacles.
Hmm.
Uh, and it could be bigger too, because it's manageable because it's all on Zoom, no live events. I'm going to do a live event this October, but it's and so it and each call is just different. Some calls we have people who are members do a presentation. You did one.
Hmm.
We call it Titan Spotlights, and you have to spotlight the members because they're as smart as anybody I can get on the outside. And then the outside speakers, I'm always, as I said before, I'm looking for the expert in all the areas. So I
Hmm.
bring in an expert on, you know, writing a book for marketing purposes. I bring in a speaker on um, um, Instagram and Reels and marketing. I bring in a YouTube expert. So I
Hmm.
bring in all a direct mail expert. So and then we do hot seats, so people can put in for a hot seat, which is like a particular problem or challenge. And for 15 minutes on the call, there's usually like anywhere from 60 to 90 people on a call, and people are just raising their hands and giving you ideas, and
Hmm.
you're a good participant in that, and I always appreciate you when you're on the call. Um, so it's 2 to 3 calls a month. They're recorded. They're in a portal, so the content is forever for the people who are members. Um, it's and then there's a direct mail component, of course, because I have to practice what I preach. So every month you get a USB in the mail in a plastic case, which has all the calls on it for the
Hmm.
month. It's in the portal digitally too, but you get it physically on a USB.
Yep.
Optional. You don't want it, you don't have to get the USB. And then on the USB, we also put a swipe of the month of a great promotion that was written by a great copywriter. And then we also have videos from the Titans Mastermind, the $25,000 group, because I did it for 8 years, 3 meetings a year. That's 24 meetings a year, 10 speakers each. That's 200, at least 200 speakers
Hmm.
that I can choose from. And I give one of those great presentations to the Titans Accelerators. So Titans Accelerator I don't have Titans Mastermind anymore. I ended up letting it phase out after the pandemic. Um, but I think that um, Titans Accelerator is where I'm putting most of my efforts now. And I just love the group. It's such a warm, inviting group, and it's exactly what I want to be doing now. I want to teach, I want to learn, I want to teach and learn with a group of direct response marketing. It's got everything I need for my retirement because I always say I'm retired from things I don't do well. I'm retired from things that I don't like to do, and I'm retired from people I don't want to hang around with anymore.
Yep.
Based on those three criteria, I'm basically 85% retired, but I'm working full time. It's not like I'm not working full time, but
Hmm.
it's a different kind of retirement, and I'm active. It's an active retirement into just not doing stuff I don't want to do and that I'm not good at. And I
Yeah.
bring people in who are better at it than me. It's a great model. And I think the members, we get anywhere from you know, first year we get 50%, 60% renewals. 3, 4 years down the road, it's 60, 70% renewals, which is pretty good for, a mastermind like
Yeah.
this. I mean, and keeping the price down is important. Like I'm not going to keep raising the price either. 2,000 a year, $200 a month is where it's at now, and I'm comfortable with that. I can live on that. Um, Not that I don't need the money. I'm not saying that, flippantly, but
Hmm.
I can't do it for free because there's a lot of costs involved,
Sure.
especially
Yeah.
USBs. I got to send them in the mail,
Right.
postage and printing, right? Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so it's a great group. I'm so happy you're in it. I'm so happy we were able to connect on your podcast through it. You actually interviewed um, my executive assistant,
Yeah.
Carla
Carla.
Duan, and she runs the business with me, and she's amazing, and she's got an incredible sense of organization, and that was I listened to the version. I don't know if it's been released yet. Probably by the time this is released, that was
Yeah.
released.
Yep. Hers
So
was
yeah,
released a little bit ago. Yeah.
yeah, great. Yeah, and she's amazing, and that's how we work, in the business.
Yeah. No, so I love the Titans Mastermind, the Titans Accelerator Group. Again, keeping that investment minimal. It's probably, for any business owner who really wants to level up and to, make great connections and be part of a supportive community and, be able to contribute and to learn as well. It's one of the best places that you can get involved in. So encourage you to,
And you're in one of the optional pods, as
yeah,
you said, and that's optional, but that gives you another opportunity, no extra cost,
yeah.
as long as you commit to it every week. You have to commit to that every week.
Yeah.
with four other people. And, you
Because
know,
other people are depending on you, and that's how you have that accountability,
exactly,
right? Is,
exactly,
you got to show up, you got to do your thing. And for a lot of us, it kind of goes back to what you were talking about earlier, about that discipline. It helps you develop that discipline of, showing up, and then how do you want to improve? Because that's what everybody's in those pods for.
exactly, exactly. Well,
Awesome. Well,
yeah,
Brian, I really appreciate you spending some time here with me today. We'll make sure that we put the link to the Titans Accelerator information into the show notes. And then Brian also has an amazing Sunday blog email that he sends out. A lot of great information, and it's got links to other blog articles that he's written in the past and everything. So you can find that at briankurtz.net. Just opt in there. You won't get spammed, I guarantee it, but everything that you
won't
get
get
from
sold
Brian,
really. It's
yeah,
only
he
I only
won't.
sell educational products, and I don't do affiliate commissions. So it's not a. I mean, some people call me the director of sales prevention because I don't do affiliates for money. And if I ever do an affiliate for an educational product, the first thing I ask them is that if you have an affiliate commission, can we give that as a discount to my online family, to my list?
Hmm.
Because I'm not looking to make money off the blog itself. So I always look for products and services that appeal to my audience, but they're going to get the best price because it's going to be half price if
Yep.
they discount by the affiliate commission that they're not paying me.
Yeah, exactly. So make sure you go sign up for Brian's weekly emails. And then if you're looking to supercharge your email marketing, check out my book, Hit the Inbox, at
Absolutely.
hittheinboxbook.com. It's packed with 76 pages of strategies to get your emails landing in inboxes and driving sales. Thanks for tuning in today. If you found value in this episode, and I don't know how you could not have, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on your favorite platform. It helps us reach more entrepreneurs like you. And until next time, keep crushing it in the trenches.